Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're getting prepared for our second series of the evening here in the lower bracket now, or the losers bracket if you like to call it that. Team Liquid Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy. We expect a very different look here, obviously, than we saw in that series one of the day. That was absolutely insane, but let's catch everybody up on what the lower bracket looks like here. We're covering the bottom of the bracket with Golden Guardians Team Liquid, but throughout the week, you still can catch more action with Dignitas Mirage versus TSM Academy, Flight Course Academy, CLG Academy, and then Wildcard versus Immortals Academy. Of course. But Coco, let's talk about Golden Guardians versus Team Liquid right now. I want to start things off by covering the side of the team that came into this tournament with a lot of expectations, a lot of hype around them. Team Liquid Academy looking like one of the, if not the strongest Academy team after their run through the Arena of Legends tournament. So what's your read on this team right now?
Yeah, so a lot of that favoritism is coming from recency bias because Cloud9 Academy did not play in the Northern Arena of Legends tournament. So with that, it's something of the same stature. Both of these teams really love to have that tempo style and prefer looking for those team fights. But Team Liquid is more on that forward tempo focus, I'd have to say. Their laning phase is a lot stronger than that of what Cloud9 Academy is per se, but it's something where it's really focused on getting Armeo in these wonderful positions where he can create that map state to where it's more of a solo lane focus, where you have Jenkins and Harry who are the power players of this team, and from that point they can then just sort of destroy and deconstruct their opponent from the inside out.
Yeah, when I was talking with Coach Spawn earlier before the games, he was saying he thinks that the team's pretty flexible. Like he's comfortable carrying through any three lanes during the drafting phase, but they do favor some champions over others, which has kind of made them a little predictable. They like things like the Alistar Kai'Sa. They really like that Udyr pick as well. So we'll see if the shifting of the meta changes that up, or maybe teams just start banning stuff like that away, and we have to see Team Liquid Academy go into a little deeper in their champ pools. But since we're already close to being into pick and ban for this game number one, let's now bring it over to Golden Guardians Academy. Same question. I mean, just a general pulse. What's the read of this team? Do they stand a chance here against Team Liquid Academy after what we saw happen in the Northern Arena tournament earlier in the month? I guess end of last month.
Honest answer, I wouldn't say, because casters are supposed to be unbiased with these kind of series, especially when you're casting them. But we'll give a little bit of history in a sense of they have a better chance than a lot of people, I'd say, put them out to be. And the reason why is because of their performance and their practice last week. Because they went up against NoWark, who was able to beat them out in the 2-0 series. But it's something that NoWark does have very similar reflections of their playstyle that is familiar to what Team Liquid Academy does prefer and does favor. So it's something that you're fighting an apex predator of amateur who plays similarly to these academy teams. So you have that in the back of your mind saying, okay, they're going to be playing in these sort of styles, but you're going up against a massive titan that is TLA. So you have a lot of disadvantages going for it. Not to mention, there's not really a true voice just yet in Golden Guardians Academy. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that their issues are internal instead of external.
And I just want to remind everyone, Spawn also did say specifically that if they play like they did in North Arena, he thinks that this is a 2-0. But if they play like they did against Barrage, then they might still lose this one. So even Team Liquid Academy, that was a wake-up call, right? Yep. They need to perform because they can't just sit down and relax and take this as a free win. And Golden Guardians Academy, also Coach Spooks was saying, he didn't think that their upper level play was not represented in that last series. He was disappointed with his own drafting in game number one. He was critical of that. But then also in game number two, he was saying, we just reached a point where we didn't really know the correct play at the correct time, and the enemy team capitalized on that. So he still thinks that there's a lot more to show for these guys.
And let's tie that all up into like a nice little gift-wrapped box per se, right? Because this is something where the issues of Team Liquid Academy are what Golden Guardians need to really bring back of what they're good at, is what punishing these slight mispositions and these slight poor recall timings that Team Liquid Academy had in their series against Barrage. They need the confidence, and that's what we're looking for from Golden Guardians Academy. A draft that gives them the confidence for Chime to look for plays, for Tally to look for aggressions in the side lanes, and then for them to really punish forward on those actions. And like we said, if Spooks is able to get a good draft like he says he will be able to against TLA, then we might be seeing a replicated series, possibly a 3-game series today against these two teams.
Golden Guardians Academy want to keep it scrappy. They're an opportunistic team. Again, a quote directly from the coach. They like to play sidelines. They like to play skirmishes rather than these big team fights. But again, if your Team Liquid Academy coming in thinking we can carry through any single lane on the map, whether it's Jenkins in the top lane, his champion pool is insane. You gotta ban the Kennen because otherwise he will play it, and everyone keeps forgetting about the Kennen pick. But then also Hieri and Jan in the middle and bottom lane as well. So. And I mean, you already mentioned Armeo is a very veteran jungler. He's got a really strong game sense, especially compared to a lot of these other junglers. And I would say, looking at Golden Guardians Academy, Rosethorn might be my weak link in that 5-man squad. So my eyes will be heavily on the jungle pick, because if TLA can play through any lane, Armeo got to enable that. If Golden Guardians Academy want to play Scrappy, usually it's up to the jungler to enable that too.
Well,
so
jungle and
what's
support.
That matchup going to look like?
I'd add support to the mix as well, because of just how much we've seen roaming supports really pop off and create leads into the early and mid game stages. And that's where this big challenge of the draft is going to be coming into question for Golden Guardians Academy. Because yes, you may say you have the confidence in creating a good draft to provide tools and opportunities for your players to find those plays, but that's all in fantasy. That is not something that is put pen to paper. And once we get into that draft, that's where we'll be able to see, okay, did we actually provide those tools for these teams to apply properly and give visible and very strong win conditions for them to enact on. Team Liquid Academy, like you mentioned before, one of the most versatile teams, and that's one of the reasons why we give them so much favor in this series and through Proving Grounds as a whole. Golden Guardian needs to find at least one plan that can work and really set that in stone and find their identity in this series.
Flexible, but in a way predictable, because again, they do heavily favor certain team comps. So I think Golden Guardians Academy, they can do one of two things. If ever I see a team that really drafts like 3 champions anytime they're up, you can either say, okay, ban them out because obviously they're good at those champs, or you can prepare the counter pick. So what do you think Golden Guardians' strategy should be there? Do they want to just say, nope, no Kai'Sa, no Udyr? Or do you think that there are picks in the meta right now that can kind of shut those down?
Right, because you look at like the effective champion pool of Team Liquid Academy, and they're super shallow. They're effective, but it's very shallow. Like you've got Jan, who has Kai'Sa.
One of the more shallow in the academy teams.
It's like Kai'Sa, Senna is pretty much the real effective pool for the bottom side of the map. Armeo, like you mentioned, the Udyr and the Olaf. I would be challenging for the Hecarim as well. I think this is something where you have a top side of the map focus for Rosethorn and Tally to make some plays. Nidalee Renekton is a possibility for these guys as well. So to that end, man, it's tough. I think you just, ban Udyr, make sure that's off the board. If you're blue side, definitely first pick that Hecarim if it's not taken away from TLA. But if it is a state where you're going in, a lot of those top meta picks are gone, and that predictability of Team Liquid Academy is sort of taken away because not only have you banned it, but they've banned it as well to make sure you aren't able to pick it up, then you need to go with a lot of comfort and scrappy styles to find that space and find that confidence for each player to find their own individual way into the game. And it's tough for Golden Guardians, and it's tough to create an argument for them because of how rough this season has been for not just themselves, but for the organization, where this org doesn't feel like it's found that true calling just yet, and it may take a couple losses and another season for them to really find that.
Spooks was the 2A player coach before he moved up to the head coach, as they lost their initial head coach that started off with them at the beginning of the year. So Golden Guardians Academy in kind of a growing stage right now. And also when it comes down to shot callers, it's difficult to really get a read on it because according to the team and the coaching, it's a lot of Tally and it's a lot of Chime. So top laner and support, support's expected, right? But oftentimes you want that jungler. You want to hear the jungler talking a lot more. But I still think that top laner can work. But then you're looking at Tally's champion pool, and he likes to play things like the Renekton, things like the Gnar, even things like Lulu. So it's like, does that necessarily play into a shot calling top laner?
It's a question of the value of the communication, right? Because Tally may be very talkative, but he's just like maybe just feeding information, making sure Rosethorn knows what's up in that top side of the map so he can look for plays elsewhere. I do agree with Spooks. I think Chime is the guy to invest in here. This is something that he has made a name for himself on making roaming supports a thing. He is literally named after his one trick in Bard. So I want to see a Bard. But
ironically, he hasn't played that champion in like the last couple games. He's playing Thresh, Rakan, Rel, Alistar, Braum, like anything but the Bard.
But in those Rakan and Thresh aspects, he's been playing in that same style, roaming and engaging supports that can create those plays. That's what I want to see out of Chime. We just need to have that confidence in the draft. We are now into that draft, as we now see.
Yes,
so
we are.
already that predictability for both GGA and TLA are starting to get knocked off in the bans.
First bans coming through here in this game number 1. You look at the top right there. Yep, we do find the second seeded team in the whole tournament in the lower bracket going up against Golden Guardians Academy, 10th seed right there. But first bans already here, Rise and Jinx, so two laners that like to scale, and from Golden Guardians Academy, and they're focused on those junglers. Udyr off the table, Hecarim off the table.
Those jungle's gone. Don't want those in Armeo's hands. And then the Tristana flex, because Yunbi can play it. I think that's the one thing that really TLA doesn't like, is the Tristana flex. I think Harry would prefer those mages and utilities.
Once, yeah,
and I think that just off of that one play, I believe it was a loss that they had on that Tristana as well. I think it was one of their few losses. But,
Harry does have the biggest champ pool out of Team Liquid Academy. Like we did say, most of the players have a shallow champ pool. He's the one that played the Kassadin. I mentioned that earlier in the show.
Kassadin, the Silas's, he's the one that brings it up. But okay, Gnar being that first pick for Jenkins, giving sure that they have that confidence in the top side of the map, takes out one of the carry threats for Golden Guardians, because you always have sort of a winning lane with that Gnar, but it also sort of forces the hand of saying, you know what, we picked this, I want to see you go Renekton Nidalee. And that's very appetizing for Golden Guardians right now, and you can see them considering that, though there are so many other options on the bottom side of the map that could give them other opportunities.
Yeah, Nidalee is available, though, one of Rose Thorin's favorite champions. We'll see if he wants to lock that one in. It's instead, the Rel Kai'Sa.
Okay,
so
Kai'Sa.
Not only is this still a pretty strong lane, we've seen it work before, but also it's a takeaway from Yun, who really likes that Kai'Sa for himself. So Golden Guardians Academy seems like they did their homework. Their answer to the Udyr Ali Kai'Sa combo was ban the Udyr, take the Kai'Sa.
Now, there's a couple options that TLA could go right now. You could just finish up your bottom side of the map and do a gentleman's agreement of those bot support picks. Alistar is going to be locked in, so gives a little bit of a nice sign for them. Though, for right now, this is where I think Yunbi might be considering, again, a more versatile mid lane pick. Something that can either roam or can side lane fairly effectively. And, okay, Armeo taking the Nidalee this time around for TL Academy. I'm a little surprised on this one. Olaf was still on the board. Volibear is a good flex pick, and I feel like Armeo, his playstyle itself, does play into the Volibear. And to this end, I'm a little surprised. Golden Guardians is the one that takes Volley.
And I don't see the Nidalee being like the best pairing with a Gnar top lane. If you think about like that AP jungler AD top laner, so now I'm looking
it's still
at the mid lane.
Great,
how's that going to work?
Yeah. And technically, the Volibear is a flex for Golden Guardians because they haven't selected their top lane as TL Academy did. And then we go into the second ban phase where Golden Guardians can start to choke out that bottom side of the map and give them some favor going in. Xayah being taken away. You still have... I'm trying to think of what else. Jinx
I feel like you
gone.
want to take away the defensive AD carry. I wouldn't be too surprised to see an Ezreal ban. Maybe a Sivir ban.
Ezreal or Sivir would be the two options I could see. Sivir might actually be a great pick here for TLA if it does go through. Sylas ban just out of respect because already the Alistar is just an ultimate enough for Sylas to get out of control.
No, it's that Nidalee, man, clearly. But looking at Jan's champ pool, he also does play the Senna. I don't know if Senna Alistar is really the combo that they'd be looking for.
Because that's the one thing that is like, okay, you just go full topside focus, and Armeo just hard focuses on that. But Sivir ban, it does sort of make that Senna more appetizing because it's just a comfort pick for him. I would totally be fine with Caitlyn here if I'm TLA. Good long range. Doesn't really need Alistar in the lane so he can roam. Like Ezreal, yes, is probably the best option here for TLA. Provide that additional magic and AD versatility. But it also provides that flexibility and safety as well. So for this,
you really
Golden
just
Guardians...
want to let Isla get out of lane. Like, that's the goal, right? Because Isla is a support, likes to play these tanks, likes to play these engagers, and roam around and help out the rest of this map. And when we look at Team Liquid's playstyle, it's Armeo usually as that shot caller saying, all right, team, follow me. Like, I'll go to your lane, and then I'll pull you into the jungle with me. And it's just kind of him running the show. Wherever he goes, that's where the action follows. So regardless, I think that they want to get something that allows Ayla to get out of lane. But Golden Guardians Academy... What do they want to lock in here for
I'd
their final pick?
say
Because Ori's off the table to Karma. Okay, still kind of a flex, but probably top lane, right? Like, we got to expect the Karma top lane.
You could argue it top for sure. It's just, like you mentioned, it is a flex. So it is waiting to see what TL will decide to draw for their ADC and mid laner, because they're going to have to blind it no matter what. And it's something where Orianna's off the board. What other flexible mid lanes can you go with? Like, you've got Syndra technically available. Victor is online who can deal with it. So there's a lot of good utility mages that Harry can play. Even Azir. Like, Azir's available for Harry. And that'd be actually pretty good in this comp. I'd like the Azir. Though, this does leave Golden Guardians with that final top lane pick. And they could have picked maybe Renekton here. It's still pretty strong. And it does actually work well with Volibear once you hit 6. Like, they're just beefy enough to survive dives. Though, looking for this right now, this is the mid lane that TPLA has to blind. And utility mages are the way to go. Victor, we are.
Blind Victor, yeah. Harry, again, champion Ocean, basically, has played that Victor in the past. So, not too surprising right there. But now we get to see what Golden Guardians will answer with. Do they put the Karma? I'm expecting Karma in the top lane with the Volibear jungle, and then they counterpick the mid here. But I guess they could still throw a wrench in that plan, put the Karma mid lane into that Victor if they feel like that's a fine matchup. Just say, okay, we're just farming, we're just wave clearing, allowing for other things to happen around the map. But I want to see something proactive, because when you see us basically a double support comp, you need something mid lane that can make things happen. Twisted Fate can make things happen. It's just, where are you going to make the things happen?
Bot lane.
Yeah.
Yep, bot lane and jungle. Those are the places you'd be looking. If Tally is able to just absolutely bully Jenkins out of lane and just say, hey, like, you don't respect this pick, so you're just going to take Qs to the face for the rest of the day. That's when you'd be like, okay, now TF can just come up here because it's a free kill on Mininar. But Jenkins, he's one of the most veteran top laners here in Academy. It's one of those things that I don't doubt he's got at least some understanding of how this matchup is coming to play. Though then you have to ask yourself, all right, what is the reasoning for this flex for the Karma top with TF being that priority mid lane R5, right? And you've got two people on front line to help you out. You've got some good shields, especially with Tally being able to help bolster some of the tankiness that Rel sort of loses in scraps and skirmishes. So to that end, I'm looking at the scrapping style of Golden Guardians Academy. Very favorable. You go to 3v3s, you do 2v2s. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to them. TL Academy, if they're able to run the map and do exactly what they love to do with giving Armeo as much pressure as possible and focusing on this top side of the map and allowing Yon and Ayla to be that 1-2 slot of allowing Ayla to roam, it's going to be really difficult for Golden Guardians Academy to try and tame it. But at least they have the tools to act upon it.
I'm going to say it right now, I like Team Liquid's draft more than Golden Guardian Academy's draft, because Golden Guardians, it's going to be very conditional of if they can actually pull it off. But we'll see as we're loaded up onto Summoner's Rift here for game number 1, Team Liquid Academy versus Golden Guardian Academy. Last chance to continue through this tournament. If you lose, you go home. And you would actually be the first Academy team to get knocked out of the tournament. The first team in general to get knocked out, as it were. Not the look that you want to have as a morph. So
fact that TL Academy is in the potential running for being the first Academy team to lose out in Proving Grounds is ridiculous. And
that would be shocking if that happened, based on power seeding, based on expectations. If you read, again, to just name drop Cubby's Reddit post that he just put up not too long ago about, if you haven't watched all the games, read this article to get caught up. He was saying Team Liquid might be his favorite team in the tournament, the top seeded. But yeah, that would be definitely surprising, because last time these teams played against each other was in the Arena of Legends, and Team Liquid Academy beat them both games under 27 minutes. So it was definitely one-sided matchups. Golden Guardians Academy, though, with this draft, maybe they can hold on, because they do like Tally on these supportive top laners. Cheeky. And I think Rosethorn on something that can kind of power clear and then look to impact lanes. It could be a good look for him.
Cheeky play from Jenkins, but hey, he takes a Q to the face. Nonetheless, with Karma as topside start for Rosethorn by himself. He's also going Predator on this Volibear, something that is starting to rise through favoritism just because it helps with these compositions that struggle with true engagement. Gives that additional movement speed to really close in on these teams. Doesn't
Predator
go with like
Karma Shield. Whew.
Oh yeah, that's going to be spooky. Just wait until you see, like, instead of going Turbo Chem Tank, he decides to go like... Oh, actually, do you think Tally would be going the Shrelius battle song?
Oh, that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Regardless of what he goes, he might
geez.
just solo kill Jenkins right now. Okay, one more Q. Yeah, Jenkins playing with fire right there. Wow.
This is what we were talking about just in the beginning of the Summer's Rift, was that if Jenkins disrespects this Karma will bully you and will give you potential to just absolutely find picks onto this Mininar whenever possible. Hopefully this doesn't continue to be a trend for Team Liquid Academy through the next few minutes if you are rooting for them to win this series. But for Golden Guardians, that's a great start.
Yeah, Tally getting priority on the top side of the map, getting some early poke out against Jenkins. But Jenkins still hits that Meganar and is safe enough for now, catching most of that CS under turret. So we'll see if Tally's still safe as Armeo finds himself in the top half of the map here with this early jungle farm. But with the ward down for Tally, I don't know if there's really good opportunity for Armeo to actually gank.
Yeah, I'm looking already 2 minutes into the future at this Mountain Dragon, and I'm looking for Golden Guardians to try and get these dragons as fast as possible. Because even though we had that discussion, you asked Spooks really what the play style is of Golden Guardians, where they're very opportunistic. They tend to fall into a sense of passivity, and instead of being opportunists, they become reacting to different plays. I don't want to see that out of Golden Guardians, because that already shows you that Team Liquid is always going to have the tempo. I want them to be the ones that act first on these neutral objectives with the raw stats that they get out of the Volibear and the Kaisa, and then from there try and look for some pressure into specific pinpoints on the map, where Team Liquid Academy is already looking onto this top side to alleviate some pressure away from Jenkins.
Yeah, you could look for a gank. No? Okay. Just backing in the tri-bush right there. Tally should be safe. Okay, no, he canceled the back.
Spoke too
Is
soon.
Tally safe? We'll see. I mean, they don't have a lot of hard CC or ways to lock him down. He's about to go Mega there. Is the wall going to come through? Nope. Tally just walks away calmly, coolly, collectively, and will be safe. So Armeo showing on the top half of the map means that Rosethorn hasn't much needed time to catch up in jungle clear, because there was a short window there where Armeo was actually at 2 full camps.
Exactly. And this gives some freedom as well, as we saw Chime go ahead and drop that control ward into that little elbow brush right next to the red buff so they can keep track of this Nidalee. They actually put 3 wards into that bottom side. And oh, hello. I'm looking weird.
Try to get away. There we go. He's locked down. He's got flash, but nah, doesn't get a chance to use it. First blood over to Golden Guardians Chime with that ignite.
What a great opportunity play right there from Golden Guardians. Knowing that they can push in, get that additional vision as I was mentioning, but then also seeing that Alo is just overstepping his boundaries and they come in with the pinch. No way for Team Liquid Academy to try and make a counterplay through that. Now you get to have that reset come in for Rosethorn, and Chime continuing the pressure.
Jump onto Jan, trying to chain the CC right there. Has the flash away. Still has the heal, but wow, what an engage from Golden Guardians. Chime is looking for blood.
Yep, and this wins a lot of pressure here for Golden Guardians Academy. Armeo on this bottom side of the map doesn't really do much for TL. This is just making sure that Jan has some confidence to push this wave in and then look for a reset. Prismal and Chime know Armeo's here. They can play it safe. And this allows Rosethorn to have a little bit of a calm before the storm to prepare for this dragon. And to this point, we also had that TP from Yunbi just coming in a few seconds ago, making sure that they have that mid lane pressure. So this is just a nice little replay to say, hey, Chime and Rosethorn, they saw the opening of Jan and Ayla being a little bit too far, biting off more than they could chew, and they've got the raw damage to create these plays and create that burst.
Yeah, also, actually Chime with a Q that took that kill. Wow, that was that was so much damage onto a Alistar that does not have Aftershock, keep in mind. So not nearly as tanky as the typical Alistar that you would see. He's going for more of that engage potential, sticking on targets, but maybe that Aftershock could have kept you alive right there. Hard to tell at the end of the day, but either way, Golden Guardians with that first blood find themselves up 1,000 gold right now, and a lot of it on the bottom half of the map, which we were talking about. Okay, where does Yunbi want to play around? Well, bot side's looking pretty enticing, especially now that they have that lead, because once he hits 6 and he can use that Destiny to get out of his own lane, if they can just chain kills on a Prismal, that is a big win condition for the Guardians.
Grabbing this Scuttle for themselves as well. Rosethorn picking that one up, keeping in tandem with Armeo's clear. And Armeo just looking a little bit cautious here, making sure that Golden Guardians isn't trying to take everything off of the board in the bottom side of the map. Having to check that dragon with a spear, and with the resets from both Harry and Jan, it doesn't go without saying that he is very worried if that happened. Thankfully for him, Prismal had also hit that reset button, and Yunbi is matching this mid lane reset. So to this stage, we're now looking to see which jungler is going to pull the trigger to either go for this objective or look for a reset and forfeit this first dragon. They're just straight hovering on this bottom side already, and Rosethorn is looking hungry to try and look for bottom lane pressure to make sure that he can get this objective.
He is level 6. They might just go for the hard engage here. Chime has Hex Flash. If he channels it, yep, there we go. He's just going to go straight onto Ayla, right? No, oh, in onto Jan. Not the member that you wanted to go for, but here we go. Rosethorn just trying to force the play, just flashes. There's the Destiny onto Jan. Heals used, but it does not keep him alive. 80 carries down. Ayla has to run away. Armeo, not enough damage in the kit to take down Rosethorn or Yunbi. Golden Guardians Academy with back-to-back plays bot side.
Maybe just enough damage for Golden Guardians to dissuade this dragon, but with all 4 members still hanging around and heal still on Prismal, with the Honey Fruit as well, that's going to be a dragon for sure for Golden Guardians. But the resets, actually from Prismal and Yunbi, say no, let's just call it off. We got the kills, we're good enough. Let's go ahead and cash in now, grab our Noon Quiver here for Prismal's Kaisa, and then try and get some control back into these lane stays. Because the more time they spend in that river, the more time Harry can look to try and get some turret plays to at least neutralize some of the loss that he had from Yunbi roaming.
Team Liquid Academy doing a good job of just keeping pressure, you know, saying, okay, Armeo's there, he can throw spears if they start the dragon, plus Harry pushing that mid like you said. So Golden Guardians Academy decide to back off. They don't want to force the objective. Instead, they go for the lane swap. They're not interested in that dragon in the slightest. Prismal and Chime head to the top side of the map, which signals a focus of that Rift Herald, presumably.
Maybe.
Interesting calls.
Yeah, though the match does create some room of caution for both these teams, because it's still the same answer. Like, if you match with these swap lanes for Ayla and Jan, you really can't challenge this Rift Herald anymore, because it is beefier than the dragon. It's going to be a lot slower to try and take, so you'd need more time. And the fact with that swap happening and Armeo now hovering this top side of the map and allowing Tally and Jenkins to just gentleman's agreement farm in the bottom side, then really it just sort of goes back to the same state of Golden Guardians looking for another opportunity to look for a lane gank or look for a kill onto either Harry or Jan. And with that, Harry pushing Rosethorn away from Shelly.
That's the big thing with Team Liquid Academy's composition right now, is they do have presumably infinite control over mid lane, right? Twisted Fate likes to push waves and then get out of that lane, but Victor, as he scales up, will just be able to shove these waves in much faster and then roam faster. But despite that, Golden Guardians do actually find themselves faster on the rotation here for the Rift Herald, so should be a pickup, maybe traded as Armeo's looking for this dragon on the bottom side.
Yeah, as long as Armeo is able to pick up this dragon with the assistance of either Jenkins or Harry, who's still walking himself back to lane.
He's not doing it.
Oh.
All right, we got to stop calling these dragon tanks. We're over 200.
But it's in my name, Kangas.
That is fair, Coco
It's
the Dragon.
the thing. However, the thing is like, I'm not, as much as I'm trying to pressure these teams into looking for these objectives, it's not that bad for Golden Guardians to continue to coast. They have some great outscaling potential with Kai'Sa's damage. It's just the concern of how their composition is formulated to be to question how effective it will be against the more traditional and predictable composition that Team Liquid Academy has constructed.
Well, clearly they're using that creativity to their advantage here with that Karma lane swap to the bottom side. Still up a full 15 CS tally.
Yeah.
As a player, I mean, this is a guy coming in from Oceania. He likes playing the tanks, also likes playing these supports, and doing a decent job here against Jenkins, who actually fully engages onto him. Might just be able to take him out right here. Tally doesn't have the ultimate, has to flash away. Wow, what a play from Jenkins. Just hard shoving in Tally.
Yeah, great call. That's the power of a Gnar on a side lane, and unfortunately, Tally felt the absolute brunt of it, but is able to get out to tail the tail. Chime now rotating to the bottom side of the map, and it looks like that whole rotation was for that Herald and to grab a couple turret plates on the top side as well. Both of these teams are able to grab one for each other, and then a TP from Yunbi signaling that we're looking for that mid lane pressure once again. We're going to be threatening this dragon, and it feels like this dragon is still it's not the focus point of GG, but it is what they're using to sort of be a bear trap, to thwart TL into a sense of comfort or into a sense of contention, to where they can then punish any overextensions that they look for. And immediately when we see Armeo on the top side of the map, Yunbi goes ahead and relays that info. And
Hey Coco, I think they're going for dragon. I think they're doing it. They're getting the dragon objective. It's on the map. It's a thing.
But
Golden Guardians Academy finally pulling the trigger on this one, like you said, because they see Armeo on the top half of the map, and they rotated their top, or their, I guess, bot lane from the top back to the bot lane. The Golden Guardian strategy of moving Prismal and Chime around and playing around this power duo is actually working out pretty well for them here. They're close to a 2,000 gold lead. They get the Dragon. They still have the Rift Herald, so early game's looking really good.
It's not a formidable lead just yet. It's something that if you make a slight mistake, a slight overstep, you can get punished and shut down fairly quickly. For both Golden Guardians and Team Liquid respectively. Like, you know, I'm looking at this Chime play, and he's playing a little bit ambitious for the vision control. Just to make sure he can always track where Armeo is.
Yeah,
and that was one of the
he can always
win
jump the
conditions.
wall if he needs to.
Yeah. There is always the win condition that we talked about with TLA, is that they want to give as much freedom to Armeo as possible, and the fact that Chime is always trying to keep track of him is really helping them quell any advantages that TL tries to look for.
Rift Herald bot, yep, there we go. It's dropped bot side here. Team Liquid Academy, they are here to answer. Armeo is in the neighborhood, so it will not be a full commit onto the bottom turret. It'll just be the Rift Herald charge to get a couple more turret plates there.
It's 100 gold to each player, so pretty well done. Weren't able to get that final plate there. It's just
They're
100
close.
health
I think
off,
with this
but
wave, maybe they can. They only have 45 seconds. Okay, no,
it's
they back
tough
off.
because Rosethorn had already decided, you know what, I'm going for Scuttle. Doesn't matter, just call it a day. Hit the reset button. We have to see what they also cash in on, because they might have enough money to look for mythic items. Nope, they just go. Yeah, Gale Force. There you go for Prismal. So this is a huge power spike. And Jenkins getting a couple turret plates on that top side of the map. He's going to be pretty close to his Strikebreaker as well. So this is where you start to decide, all right, we've got as many turret plates as we can for both of these teams. It's time for Prismal and Chime to start looking to a place where they can actually break the map open. And it might actually be on this top side, because Team Liquid Academy is slow to these rotations.
Yeah, every single time it's Golden Guardians Academy faster, moving their bot lane around. This is some pretty cerebral League of Legends that we're seeing right now. Mind games, outplaying rotations, looking for advantages, and just bleeding out. Because of this, Prismal finds himself with a 30 CS lead over Jan. And like you had pointed out, Mythic item completed already. Yeah. So, Prismal, this is the player to watch. This is the gamer that can turn this game around, or I guess continue the lead, rather, for Golden Guardians Academy. Because if he can get a big fight right here, that would be huge with the damage output that the Kai'Sa provides.
Looking at the cash-ins of all the mythic items, we got the Moonstone Renewer coming in for Tally, so he's going to be fairly potent when it comes around to team fights and skirmishes. With
I think he's going to be stuck in the side lane for a little while, though.
Yeah, which sucks, right? Because it's like, this is for everyone. You
can proc it on yourself, right?
Yeah, sure, no problem. But makes it a little bit tougher when you're going up against Jenkins, who is looking to cash in on that mythic as well, who he really just wants to stick on you and kill you and make it to where you can never side lane again. Though, speaking of those side lanes, Jan and Ayla making sure that they can keep this turret alive for as long as possible on the top side of the map, is Chime and Rosethorn seeing if they can get some extra vision just to make sure that they can continue to suppress Armeo's pressure. And they've been doing it splendidly so far. Herald's going to be up in about 30 seconds here. So this is the best time for them to try and get that vision and then find a choke point.
I'm going to predict the next 2 minutes here. Golden Guardians Academy get the Rift Herald. They're going to reset their bot lane and send them back to the bot side of the map for that dragon. It's up in a minute 45. They're just going to keep doing it. It's the ping pong strat, Coco.
I think they take the Herald, but instead of going bot, they go mid. Yunbi goes top, Tally goes bot, and then that's where you break,
a lot of words.
You break mid lane with Herald.
A lot of things. I'm losing track. There's so many positions for people to be in.
Break mid lane with Herald. And then from there, you can threaten Dragon with mid lane priority, and then Tally's actually going to be in the fight to use Moonstone Renewer, and you always have that side lane pressure from Yunbi.
It could be. I think we might see the Destiny used by Yunbi here on the Rift Herald, but so far Golden Guardians Academy have not started it. They do not feel confident to actually just force this objective, despite the fact that they are in a gold lead right now. I actually do think that I would favor them if a fight broke out. They just don't
especially with all the mythic items they have. Like they have they have 4 mythics to 3. So
they pull the trigger. Here we go. Finally. Okay. They're looking for it. I think they wanted to get Yunbi just back in mid lane. They didn't want to waste the Destiny just for the Rift Herald, because with Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, maybe it's worth more there. But regardless, they do start it up here in Team Liquid Academy. No response right now. They cannot find a way into here despite spending so much time trying to clear out those wards. End of the day, doesn't mean much.
Oh, I look at how healthy that turret is now. You might just You might just rotate to break this bottom lane open a bit, but it's just so much more appetizing to break the mid lane turret open with Herald. And there you go. They're all rotating to this mid lane to try and win that priority. If they can break it open, it gives them a lot of advantages, not only for this dragon that comes up in 10 seconds, but also for a lot of the mid game windows when they try and look for additional plays to really break apart Team Liquid Academy.
They could also theoretically... Okay, wait, Destiny's popped? It's just to see where everyone on Team Liquid are. They want to make sure that they have vision of everybody before they just face check, but they're taking poke here. The Victor, the Ezreal, the Nidalee. This is a very long-range composition from Team Liquid, so even though Rift Herald was dropped mid, they try to use it as a distraction, the classic bait of, hey, go for the Rift Herald while we go for the Dragon, but end of the day, Team Liquid do take it down. They don't lose much for it. Here's the engage coming in from Jenkins. There we go. They lock down one member. It's Rosethorn. Gets over the wall just barely. The Volibear taking a lot of damage. That range, that poke is so much he has to flash away. Maybe the re-engage onto Harry will be enough, but no, it's not. Ayla goes under the turret. Chime goes down. It's Harry that actually picks up that one. And without their support, Golden Guardians Academy in a really rough position to actually approach this dragon.
Team Liquid splendidly played that fight, just waiting for the perfect moment for Jenkins to pop the Meganar into a two-man toss into the wall and forcing Golden Guardians' hand when they were not ready. First off, it was just a terrible hiccup there from Golden Guardians with the Rift Herald. I understand what they were going for, but TL was able to suppress that plan and thwart them into playing into TL's favor. And to this end, this is where your composition will struggle in those fights. Even though you have that mythic advantage, you're sitting into a place where if you don't find that pick first, the fight is always going to be in TL's favor just off of the raw talent and the composition that Team Liquid Academy has accrued. And this is just Jenkins finding that wonderful knock up into the slam for their front line of Golden Guardians to be pushed away. And from there, the poke from Ezreal, the poke from Nidalee is able to whittle away everyone else. And though Harry goes in here, he takes so much damage, but heals so fast because of what Jan and Armeo are able to do on this Nidalee and with the heal from Ezreal. So great play from them. They pick up the dragon for themselves. We do get another cloud, or an ocean map actually, for this first game of the series. And to this end, I think Golden Guardians get a good slap in the face saying, look, stop playing for these 5v5s, play your game, play these side lanes well. That's your goal for this game.
They need to find ways to force these engages before they get poked out. If they're going to go for a play like that, they have to get onto Team Liquid Academy before the Nidalee Spears land, before the Mystic Shots land, because they had like half health bars by the time that engage even came through from Jenkins. So, yeah, you got the Moonstone on the Karma. There's shields, there's some healing there, but it's only one Karma as opposed to 3 pokes. Like, look at this damage from a distance. Russell Creed can't even get on top of them, and he has to run away already.
Really tough to try to deal with this, and especially with the comp that you have that you need to burst people out. You don't have a lot of sustained damage on Golden Guardians, and looking for extended teamfights is just playing into Team Liquid's favor. So Baron is up in 20 minutes, is up now, but neither of the teams are really going to be looking for the next few minutes at least. They want to get some side lane pressure here for Team Liquid Academy to where Jenkins can never be contested in that position, and then Harry can then do exactly what we had just seen. Thwart people away from trying to challenge objectives with this Victor and control the environment to allow the rest of these pokey composition of Armeo and Jan to do the rest of the work.
And we're past that stage of the game where Golden Guardians can look for these cute, roams, moving their bot lane up to the top side, moving Tally around the map, because we're essentially past the laning phase right now. Everyone's just catching gold wherever they can. And we talked about Team Liquid Academy's ability to carry through every single lane. Looks like this game we get the Harry carry. This guy's up 40 CS. Maybe this is the play from Golden Guardians Academy. They try and gold card onto Jenkins. I don't think that was a member that they wanted, but regardless, Yunbi gets locked down. He gets blown up. Actually still survives. Golden for a short period of time, but nope, Jenkins does get that kill. Team Liquid Academy with another slick pick.
Wonderful catch and a great punish there from Jenkins once more. Harry's able to get kill onto that. So we're looking to see if they can break open this mid lane turret. Siege. It's just so good. It's great.
Yeah. There is decent wave clear from Golden Guardians, but they take so much on
they only have good wave clear for the next few moments, just because off of the raw damage that Tally's Karma is going to be able to dish out on these Qs. Once that damage starts to whittle away, especially with the fact that he's going flowing water and that more supportive style, he isn't going just full AP, then that falls off. You need Twisted Fate to adjust those side waves then, and Prismal will start to have an issue where he can't clear these waves fast enough to contest against the poke and the siege that Team Liquid is going to be throwing at him while he is doing that.
Team Liquid Academy, they get a couple picks, but they really haven't ballooned it to that much more outside of just the turrets on the bottom and top side of the map. Gold's still relatively even, but as we look at their composition and what they've been doing so far, I feel like the next pick could really make or break this game, because Dragon will be up in a minute 15 seconds here. So if they can find a pick right before that, guarantees them that objective, or they could just do the same thing that they did before, you know, just keep poking out members of Golden Guardians Academy before they can even get it. But GGA so far have the early track of this Dragon. They can get some wards down, try and get some vision priority, but maybe a little early, because Team Liquid Academy, they're not too worried about it right now. They can just catch prio and midwave and then look to go through the river.
Just a matter of time. Let's see. I'm just looking for who's going to be pushing forward into this river a little bit more from the side of Golden Guardians to try and prepare for this Dragon that's up in 40 seconds. And it's really difficult for them to do it. Look at the vision control that Team Liquid has. Yeah. Every avenue of approach that Golden Guardians is going to try and make, TL has access to, and will have that information relayed immediately.
You're walking into spears, you're walking into Victor lasers. This is awful.
Imagine if Harry was Zoe. That's even worse. But I think that like the Victor here is just exactly what they need to make sure that even if Golden Guardians is able to make it through this ward, like this trench of wards, the Victor's there to drop the gravity field, and that frontline engagement that Golden Guardian needs to start fights and start skirmishes gets canceled out immediately.
Okay, here we go. Destiny's coming in. It's actually Isla going in onto Chime, trying to prevent the engage, but it does come through. There's Rosethorn. Prismal jumps in as well. That's a shutdown. That's huge. Yon will follow. A double kill onto Prismal. That's the engage Golden Guardians Academy needed. They finally found it, and that should get them the Dragon.
And all the tools available, not all of the members ready for Team Liquid Academy to try and make that play, and they had the damage. They had the cash coming in from Yunbi to create this engagement. They get the Ocean Dragon to boot, and they had enough damage on the right targets of Harry and Yon to eliminate them before there was any follow-up from Team Liquid Academy. We saw that teleport from Jenkins. He had Meganar at the ready, but by the time he got there within the channeling window, Harry and Yon were gone. There was nothing else that they could do, and Golden Guardians was on their way out. And this is what I was talking about with TL having that ward vision ready to go. They got through it, but the gravity field was not enough to try and push the rest of Golden Guardians away from them. And the fact that they get pushed into the jungle where it becomes very difficult for both Yon and Harry to try and peel for themselves is where the Golden Guardians gets that execution. So well played from them to finding the right opportunity. Now all they need to do is, well, try and look for that again and again, because even though they were able to get those kills, they haven't gained much. Just a Dragon. The map is still pretty neutral.
Feels good to get that Dragon, though, especially with the way that game had been going, how frustrating it was to play against that range. Props to Chime and Rosethorn. The two engaged members on the side of Golden Guardians, and they found the engage. Also, Yunbi going in with that Destiny.
Yeah. So we're looking now to sort of a flipped state of that. We're looking for that same engagement through the vision line of Team Liquid Academy, but on the top side of this map, and for this Baron. If it happens again, it's going to be tough, because then you're giving Golden Guardians Academy that Baron power play. And Team Liquid is playing on a place where they can play forward very well, but playing on the back foot, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because you're having to poke into your defenses instead of poking into theirs. And with this,
Golden Guardians look for
they're getting in trouble once again.
They get onto the front line. Can they actually burst them down? Armeo's already out! The Nidalee's dead before the fight even begins. Yumbi's in a 1v2 situation. He's staying alive for a lot longer than I was expecting, but it allows time, crucial time for Prisma to clean up this fight. It's just Jenkins trying to frontline. Prisma's doing some damage, but they've actually traded it back. Chime's now out of the fight, and Rosethorn is not interested in tanking any longer. So just a trade of 2v2, or 2-4-2 rather, as Golden Guardians Academy, they're trying to make these fights happen, but Team Liquid, this time, they answer back.
Yeah, but there's something that's looming in the belly of Golden Guardians Academy right now, and that is a 5-0 Prismal on this Kai'Sa. It's something that, sure, it looks nice on the surface for Team Liquid Academy, saying, hey, Golden Guardians is getting this engagement. We're still being able to trade 2 kills for 2, so we're able to at least keep up an economy and continue to go blow for blow with them. But it's where those kills are landing, right? And the fact that 6 of the kills that Golden Guardians has tried to look for have gone on to Prismal, that key carry in this game, who can not only look for those picks, but also take team fights fairly well against Team Liquid Academy's composition, is what we're looking at. And this is, again, finding that great catch onto Armeo, the one character player that they really need offline during these poke fights around objectives, and then from there getting into this choke point, it starts to be lost for Golden Guardians because the resources get stretched out. Chime isn't really able to stick onto any key members, and Jenkins is really able to get a lot of work done on this Mega Gnar in the front line. Not to mention you get that entire giant boulder, that wall, to be that additional space for Harry and Jan to just harass over from afar. So great recuperation from Team Liquid Academy, but it's still Golden Guardians' game to play because the engagements are in their favor. They're the ones in the driver's seats. They're the ones with the pedal to the metal.
They're the ones that can force these fights with the Rel pick and the Kaisa. They lock these in, red 1 and 2, taking Kaisa away from Jan. He's looking at it longingly like, oh, please let me play the Kaisa. You're doing good, Prismal, but I like him. I like her too. Prismal, though, one of the key carries of Golden Guardians Academy. We kind of failed to highlight him going into this match, but has had a breakout season so far, especially as we got into the amateur tournaments that Golden Guardians Academy competed in. In Academy, he was a serviceable AD carry for sure, but really stepping into his own around this time of year, and it's awesome to see 5-0-1 right now against Team Liquid Academy. And the player to watch in these team fights, the player to carry Golden Guardians Academy through a victory here. We'll see if he can do just that. Golden Guardians Academy positioning aggressively. Maybe looking for a pick here onto Team Liquid, but Team Liquid Academy are not going too far out of this mid wave. They're just trying to prevent this wave from causing a siege.
Dragon in 30 seconds. Vision in Golden Guardians' favor, and Rosethorn gonna say he can take a bucket of chicken. But Jenkins says, no, I get a couple drumsticks for myself. As now Golden Guardians...
It was a share pack. It was a family pack.
A family share. Though, like you mentioned, we got to look for Prismal. We have to make sure that his positioning's on point here for this Dragon contention. But the other thing I'm looking for is the people that engage for Golden Guardians. Rosethorn and Chime. They're already on the flank, and here we go with the Destiny.
Destiny's coming in as well. Who do they engage in? Onto they get onto Armeo. They
they're
get
gone.
Jan's out of the fight already with no Ezreal available. Can Golden Guardians turn this? Jenkins with a huge engage. Prismal's very low on health, and Team Liquid Academy might just be able to turn this one around, but no, Rosethorn does take down Harry. It's just Jenkins alone. Flash gold card. Tally doing some work here. Jenkins in a lot of trouble, and he cannot get out. Prismal brings the damage, and Golden Guardians Academy win another fight.
And with a wonderful flank through the darkness, Golden Guardians able to find the pinch onto Jan and Harry. And immediately Prismal dives in with the killer instinct, gets the kills, is able to find a great pick-off onto those two key members. And from here, there's no way that Team Liquid Academy can try and challenge this Baron.
Yep.
To even consider it is folly. As now, Armeo, you're being real ambitious, buddy. Just give it to them. Get some tempo elsewhere.
Does he go for the steal? He might just look for it.
Just
Chime is there.
Go somewhere else, man. I don't want you to die.
Ayla can push Chime away while Armeo looks for the steal.
TP
Is he
from
going to
Harry.
go for it? He flashes over the wall. Can't quite get it. No! He goes down. Tries for the hero play, but Golden Guardians do get the Baron.
Well-mannered from Golden Guardians Academy to temper that Baron's health bar just long enough to where it ekes Armeo's anticipation in, and getting him into the pit immediately turns on to the nilly, takes him out of the equation, and they're able to get this Baron power play for themselves onto all 5 members for Golden Guardians. And now this composition that's going to be very effective at the 4-1 style will be able to just crush down all of the structures of Team Liquid Academy that are still standing. And this is just that review.
You see how much work the Moon Staff still puts in. I mean, it got nerfed, but Tally just keeps everyone alive for so long, but it's also off of this engage here.
Yeah, it's just so splendid. They find the members that they want, and it's really difficult to try and get away from a Rel Volibear composition, because it's just an Ori ball on a character permanently. Like, how do you get away from it when they're already jumping on top of you with those instant engagements? And because of that, because you have to reassess all of your resources back on top of this front line, it gives Prismal, it gives Yunbi so much freedom to go acquire the proper positioning to dish out as much damage as possible. And then the one other key member that you just discussed in Tally on this Karma, who's constantly been able to heal people up, keep members alive long enough to where there's always a place where Team Liquid cannot be.
I said it before, it's just one Karma. Can she shield and heal up all that poke? I think the answer is yes, actually, with this build.
As long as it's on the one member, she's doing it well.
Yeah, I mean, even with these ultimates and the redemption, just keeping everybody alive throughout that fight. Prismal almost went down with some really good target selection from Ayla, but Team Liquid Academy can't find him at the end of the day. Maybe they look for their own engage right now with
Yunbi.
Destiny really deep there. Yunbi, I don't know if this was the play. Prismal says, yes, it is. I'm running in and doing the damage. Yan already out of the fight. Harry in a lot of trouble too. The CC chain. Ayla and Jenkins trying to frontline, but meanwhile, Harry yet again goes down to Rose Thorn as Golden Guardians Academy are charging forward, Coco. They are charging down Team Liquid Academy. Some people's favorites in this tournament. Baron buff still up. All 5 members still up. It looks like they're taking game number 1.
Bro, Chime has a cake of a shield, man. That is dummy thick. He take that entire turret, and he still never lost a sliver of life. Sure, it's the for the champions, but this is it. This is a 13 kill to 4 game for Golden Guardians.
Golden Guardians Academy. Their composition finally coming online. They're engaged, their shields, their heals finally working. Jenkins with the hero play, trying his best to stall for Yan to spawn, but oh no, Armeo's down. That's going to be the Nexus falling. Golden Guardians Academy throwing expectations out the window. That felt personal from their matchup in Arena of Legends, and they will go up 1-0 in the series. Wow. That was a performance right there. The early game, man. I still was thinking Team Liquid Academy got this. Their poke's going to be too much, but Tally on the Karma just provided way too much, and the hard engage of Rel Volibear actually came through.
I know you love the cheeky pickups with Karma there for the top side of the map. I respect how he was able to neutralize Jenkins for the majority of this game, but this was a Chime Rose Thorn game. This was their game to win. They were able to find the engagements. They were able to find the flanks so well. If you want to look back at those highlights, I would be looking at how Chime was able to maneuver through all of the vision control that Team Liquid Academy was able to set up when they were in the lead, and then being able to find those flanks, get onto Yan and Harry, and that allows Yunbi and Prismal to do exactly what they need to do. Focus point onto one target at a time, burst them out, move on to the next. And Tally is just there to be the person handing out the band-aids, making sure everyone can continue playing the game while they're just stampeding through Team Liquid Academy. And it's tough to go into this second game of this series. I'm a little concerned for Team Liquid because right now the pony's looking broken in, and it's brutal.
Yeah, this is looking rough for Team Liquid Academy. They're one game away from being the first team knocked out of Proving Grounds. That would be jaw-dropping, shocking right there. But we'll see if Golden Guardians Academy can put it to them. Team Liquid Academy find themselves on the back foot. We're going to send it over to a short break before we're back for potentially the decisive game of the night. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere.